90% of the millionaire build their wealth through real estate, but not in the way you think. There's a boring and effective strategy that works on low salary that I used to build my real estate portfolio of $5 million in just 7 years. I also used this step to help one of my clients go from $45,000 salary to $1 million portfolio in 7 years. Now, you have probably seen gurus selling get-rich-quick real estate scheme. That's not what it is. If you are not interested in quick but guaranteed, then you are watching the right video. So in this video, I will show you exact step by step I went from a broke student to a millionaire so that you can start applying it today and finally take control of your life. Hit the like button before we get started. Let's talk about boring prep work you need to do before even thinking about becoming a millionaire. You first need to take care of your financial life together. This is the least exciting part, but it is absolutely necessary. First, fix your credit. Lenders want to see a solid reliability of income and credit score. Your credit score needs to be above 580 to make this strategy work. But as you get higher credit score, that really helps because that makes you a strong borrower and you get better interest rates. I took my credit score from 580 to 780 by doing the following: paying every single bill on time, knocking out my small credit card balances, and also disputing old errors in my credit report. Once you have your credit fixed, now comes the down payment. But before that, if you want my help to become a real estate millionaire, I teach all the steps in my entrepreneurship mastermind group to build diversified income streams in just 3 months. If you are ready to stop relying on one income and start building real wealth, check out the link in the description below. Let's talk about the second step. You need to save your down payment. With FHA or conventional loan, you will just need 3.5% to 5% down payment. On $100,000 property, that's just $3,500 to $5,000. I saved $15,000 in 12 months just doing the following: cutting subscription, eating at home, and even side hustling on the weekends. Every dollar went into my high yield online savings account, which I call it Freedom Fund. It's slow, yes, boring, but it is absolutely necessary. Let's talk about the next step: get pre-approved. When you are pre-approved for a loan, seller knows you are serious. You also know exactly how much you can afford, and you don't wasting your time just looking at the properties you can't afford. I went to 3 different lenders, got 3 different quotes, and specifically asked for conventional loan. I made sure I understood every term, every rate, and also every condition. This took me a week, but it saved me thousands of dollars later down the line. Once you completed all the 3 steps, now get into your first boring purchase. With solid credit score of 780, my down payment saved, and pre-approval at hand, I was ready for my big move. This is where the boring strategy kicks in. Before even going down to this strategy, you need to understand house hacking. So what is house hacking? Instead of buying your primary residence, you try to buy a duplex or fourplex unit property where you can live on one unit and rent out the other unit. You can make it work for single family homes as well, as I did. For the case of single family home, what you need to do, you need to make sure you can rent out at least 1 or 2 rooms in your house. And this is called house hacking. Bear in mind, for getting FHA or conventional loan, you need to live into one unit at least for a year. That's the rule for the loan, but that's the way what makes this strategy work. The rent from your tenant pays down your mortgage. Let me show you how it exactly worked for me using my single family purchase. I found a single family house in a safe neighborhood of Redmond, Washington, near Microsoft headquarters, and the great thing is that it had a basement. I just put 5% down payment for this house, and my friends thought I was crazy. We lived in the house and rented out the basement for $1,000. Just think about that. My tenant covered 50% of my mortgage. In this strategy, your housing, which is almost basically the biggest expense of anyone in USA, goes down to half. And all that money you are saving, that can go to your next big purchase. The first house hack was life-changing, but it wasn't the big move because here's most people don't understand the strategy. The final part of this strategy is the boring repetition. The formula isn't just buy one property, it's just repeating the whole process over and over again. The loop that creates a millionaire. Remember, your conventional loan requires you to live on the property for a year. So what do you do after a year? You just move out and buy another property. Thanks for living on my property for a year, I already saved up enough to buy another rental property. So for you, what you can do, you can buy another house, move into the new house and rent out the old house completely. This is the boring steps, but these will make you a millionaire along the way. The math to $1 million. This is the boring, beautiful loop. Buy it, rent it, leave it for a year, move out, buy it again. So how does it help you to reach to $1 million? There are 3 ways you can reach to $1 million net worth using this strategy. In the absolute worst case, you can do it 10 times in the 10 years and you will have enough asset to become a real estate millionaire. If you want to do it sooner, you can buy some duplex, triplex or even fourplex. That will help you to become a real estate millionaire in 7 years. For my case, I sold my primary residence, moved to a new house, bought some rental property along the way, and I became a real estate millionaire just after 5 years. It's not magic, it's just math and discipline. I know what you are thinking. This sounds so simple, but what about all the things can go wrong? Let's talk about those one at a time. What if I can't find a tenant? What if the furnace dies? What if the market crashes and I lose everything? So first question, how will you handle vacancies? To minimize vacancies, you need to buy the house in a decent neighborhood with a good rental demand and being a good landlord. When I was looking into my first property, I was specifically looking for these conditions: average rent prices, average vacancy rate in the neighborhood, job growth in the area, school ratings and crime statistics. I didn't buy the cheapest property. I bought the property in the best area I could afford. And in the last 10 years owning all these rental properties, my average vacancy is less than 4% in my 22 rental portfolio. Let's talk about dealing with repairs. Repairs are part of the game. If you can set aside 5 to 10% of the rent income for repairs, then you should be fine. So if you get $1,000 in rent, set aside $50 to $100 each month for upcoming repairs. I also recommend saving $5,000 emergency fund, which will help you a lot in the long run. Let's deal with the last question. What if the market crashes? This is the beauty of boring cash flow strategy. Your main goal is to cover all the expenses from the rent. People will always need a place to live, which makes affordable housing market would be resilient. And often the tough economic times, the rental demand goes up. I started investing in 2016 with just $30,000. Since then we had COVID, inflation rose to 9.5%, interest rate hikes to 40 years maximum, and my properties continued to cash flow every single month. And I haven't done any panic selling of my $5 million real estate portfolio. The market goes up and down, but the rent check keep coming in. Now you know the strategy, you know how to handle all the problems, but here are one final enemy you need to be aware of. So what is that real enemy? The biggest hurdle isn't the bad tenant or leaky roof. It's the voice in your head. The voice tells you it's too hard, you are not qualified, it's not for people like you. That's the real enemy you need to defeat to become a real estate millionaire. So let's talk about your exact 90 days action plan. Here are the exact steps you need to do get started in real estate investment journey. Day 1 to 30. Fix your credit. Pull your credit report from free annual website. Dispute any errors. Pay down credit card balances under 30%. Set up automatic payments for all the bills. Get your score above 670, ideally 720. Days 31 to 60, save your down payment. Open a high yield online savings account. Cut unnecessary expenses. Start a side hustle if needed. Save $10,000 to $15,000 for down payment and closing cost for your next purchase. Day 61 to 90, get pre-approved and start looking. Talk to 3 different lenders to get FHA or conventional loans. Get pre-approved. Find a real estate agent who understands investment property. Start looking for duplexes, triplexes, or even fourplexes based on your price range. Run the numbers for every property. Let's talk about the numbers you need to know before even thinking about buying an investment property. One of the common rule is 1% rule. What it means, your rent should be at least 1% of the purchase price. So if you are buying a $100,000 property, your rent needs to be at least $1,000 per month. Next rule, 50% rule. Assume 50% of your rental income goes to the maintenance of the property. So if you are collecting $2,000 per month in income, $1,000 will go to expenses. And finally, where to find the deals. You can start looking into Zillow or Realtor.com, filter for multifamily housing based on your price range. You can also look into MLS through your real estate agent, who can set those up based on your criteria. You can even look for foreclosure or auctions, but these are mainly for the advanced investor. I found my first 3 properties in Zillow, and that's the simple step you can take. And keep in mind, always negotiate the price. I negotiated from $10,000 to even $60,000. If you offer less, most of the time seller would be willing to negotiate on the price. The path of becoming a millionaire on a low salary doesn't take a stroke of genius or luck. It just requires to do something different. That's exactly what I teach inside my Entrepreneurship Mastermind program, where I help professionals build diversified income in just 3 months without quitting their jobs. If you are ready to stop relying on one income and start building real wealth, check the link in the description below, and I will see you in the next video.